breakfast this morning was bomb. It was fire. I had bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, 2 of them, and a McDonald's breakfast burrito. And that was the final 3 breakfasts for me. It gave me energy, got me amped up. Then we had a chili cook-off at work. It was amazing too. This day has just been great. Go into the night, excited, pumped, ready to rumble, ready to give my best Floyd Mayweather impression. Right hook. I don't even see it coming. Don't even see it coming. Tonight is huge. Can't wait. I can't stress enough how excited I am. It's been crazy game. So many blindsides. So much shit to navigate through. And I just ducked, navigated right through, and sat my ass in the final 3 seat. It's actually been like I'm living on a real island because I feel sleep deprived. I'm like slap happy all the time. Sometimes I'll fall asleep at my desk at work and I'll just go get my 7th cup of coffee for the day. Realistically, I'm nervous for going against Frank because I think he has a really good case. I think if Denny speaks well tonight, she has a really good case. And that's why I keep saying it's going to be a war. And may the best man come out on top. I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to answer questions from the jury. Clear things up. Get their minds in the right place. Let them know why me, Robert Pedikowskis, the TQL freight broker, living in Cleveland, Ohio, deserves to win Survivor TRHS versus the Specialists. Tonight's going to be a damn war, and I'm coming in LeBron style, 100%, 4th quarter effort, and we're going to see how things shake out. Can't wait. Did I mention I'm excited?
I've been able to showcase what I'm made of, what I have to offer the game of Survivor. Final 3, Rob. That dude is the funniest man that played this season. He lights up a room when he's in it. I feel like if I wasn't playing, his strategy might have got traction in this game. Denny, she played everyone like a fiddle. Everybody believed that they were number 1 with Denny. However, this game shakes out. The journey's been amazing. I feel like I've left nothing on the court. Like, I played so hard. I had to remind myself every day that this is a game. And I cannot let my emotions get involved. I have to flip that switch off. And I'm here. It's paid off. I wouldn't change a thing. I'd do it all the same way over again. Hopefully, I can bring home the win. That would mean the world to me. If I lose to Denny, I can see it because she played a fantastic game. Rob, I got mad respect for him. Like I said, the dude is a character. He's so entertaining.
Well, here we go. I'm headed to Final Tribal with Frank and Rob. I've worked so hard this entire game to get to this exact moment, and I know I have my work cut out for me. The jury could be so bitter towards my gameplay, but I know we're all Survivor super fans, and I have to hope that in the end, they will respect my gameplay. I really have to convey to them that all the moves I made were strictly game and nothing was personal whatsoever. Rob has played a tremendous social game. Like, almost to a fault, he has been loyal to his people. And then you have Frank, who's played such a strategic game. He's been splashy when he's needed to, and he's also hung back when he needed to. But I don't think that Frank has a strong social game, and I don't think that Rob has a strong strategic game. So if I can prove that I have both, and I believe that I do, then maybe, just maybe, I can pull out this win. I think that I'm the most deserving to win this game, And I am going to make the jury see that too.
Let's bring in our jury. Ian, Pook, Morgan, Corey, Phil, Jeremy, Carrie, and Logan voted out at last night's tribal council. Rob, Denny, Frank, welcome to final tribal council. Tonight, the power now shifts from you to the jury. This will be their first chance to address you since being voted out of this game. They are looking to gather information to make an important decision to vote for a winner. Here's how it's going to work tonight. We are going to start with opening statements. Then the jury will have an opportunity to address you. Then we will close with closing statements. And finally, we will vote. All right, let's begin with opening statements. Frank.
All right. Congratulations, Denny and Rob, for making it to the end. I think making it to the end of this game by itself is a challenge. I started this game with probably the biggest target in here, and I chose to join the Specialist Tribe. I was asked by several people playing this game, other people that weren't, to play for TRHS, but I chose that if I was going to come back and play with a big target, I wanted to really put myself against the wall and challenge myself. One call out that I had when I won the mini game was people discredited my game because everything went exactly as I planned and I didn't have to shift or make moves. So in this game, I wanted that to happen. In the beginning stages of this game, I knew that I wanted to once that twist happened, it gave me a new life. At the beginning, I really didn't think I was going to make it more than a week in this game. When the twist happened, it opened the game wide up for me, and it allowed me to be in a position where I was controlling the majority of the information that was happening in our tribe. The Specialist side and the THRS side were both coming to me with information. I noticed that Morgan and Ian seemed to be the center of the information from the Specialist, so that's where I committed my relationship to. I knew that being on night shift, playing this game that was 6 weeks long, I knew I would be at a disadvantage when it came to communication. So I knew I couldn't talk to everyone. So people like Jeremy, I didn't really communicate with them at all. I made sure to talk to the people that I felt were controlling each side of that game. The very first beginning of this game, I went to Logan. We created the Rule of Two Alliance, and we didn't even make an arrangement to get to a final number. It was strictly, we just wanted to work together. He knew my game better than probably anybody playing. He had watched from the beginning of the mini to the end. He was in breakout rooms seeing things that other people weren't. So I knew that working with him was the best thing for my game at that time. Then Corey approached me offering a Final Four deal. I thought it was a genius strategy because I believed that he would take me to 4. So I used that same strategy and I offered the same deal to Logan. So then from moving on from that point, it was about keeping Logan and Corey both in the game, moving in the same direction. When the merge came, I didn't want to be the one to break Nakota, but I did. Right there at that merge, I wanted to work with Fook and Denny. It was an extremely long weekend. So, of course, the original plan that we formed that weekend, which was to get out Morgan, that plan changed when Pook made up Morgan having a legacy idol, which made us shift the target to Ian. When that happened, some other things happened with information that caused me to not feel comfortable working with Pook. I talked to my closest allies about what we should do. We decided to stick with Nakota and keep that strong. And in return, Denny and Pook voted out Ian, who was somebody that, Ian was the first name that came out of my mouth until Sam dug a hole for himself. I don't think I could have got here without players like Sam. I think he formed Nakota to be as strong as it was. I wouldn't be here without Philip flipping on that vote. That gave me a new life in the game. And I definitely wouldn't be here without Denny, Corey, and Ian. that's all I got. I'm excited for you guys to ask some questions, crack my game open a little more. But good luck to everyone else.
Denny.
Hey guys. I've been looking forward to this night. I know that you guys are going to have some questions for me, and I'm going to answer those honestly. I came into this game really wanting to make genuine connections and play with my gut. And I did that the whole way through. I know that some of you feel burned by me, and I'm sorry for that, but every move that I made in the game was to get myself one step further. I was constantly working like what's happening in the moment, and also trying to work 2-3 steps ahead at the same time. I had some pre-game alliances. Most of them were really out there and everyone knew about them. The one that was the most quiet though was my alliance with Logan. We didn't even need to speak to each other every day because we trusted each other. And I 100% would not be in this position if it weren't for him in the game. Corey, I know you're gonna have questions for me later, and I've been looking forward to them this whole time. Yeah, my game like blew up day one when the tribe swapped, and my number one, who was Corey, was on the opposite tribe. So I knew I needed to work with Mikey in that instance, and that's when I flipped on TRHS and started working with the specialists. I could tell that that was my best move going forward to get to the merge. And then once I got to the merge, I planned on rejoining Corey along with Frank. And things were different once I got back there. I noticed like Carrie and Corey were closer now. They were adding me in on calls that they were already on before I was. And Corey wasn't feeling so good about me and my relationship with Mikey. So I had to do a lot of shifting. I had to really gain people's trust. And I did that with the connections. I might not be able to recite which college you went to or what your siblings' names are, but those of you that I had deep, deep personal conversations with, those are the things that stay in my heart forever. Like those are the things I don't forget. Building those relationships with most of you, Ian, we didn't really have the chance to connect. I just knew you didn't want to work with me. But the rest of you, we had like deep conversations. I hope to be friends with all of you for years and years to come. And it was those relationships and the trust that I gained with each of you that helped me in the game, because I knew about every advantage that was in the game. I knew a lot about a lot of the inner workings and whatnot that were going on. And that helped me to make decisions at crucial times. And yeah, I'm excited to hear your questions and answer them. Congratulations to you, Rob and Frank. Thanks.
Rob.
How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, good.
Good.
So I came into the game having some experience from the last ORG that went on Russell's page. And I knew that I messed that game up, and there was a lot of things that I had to rework, a lot of strategy that I lacked in the last game that coming into this game was going to be big for me. And I think the biggest thing was the social relationships that I was able to form. I played the game with my heart, with my gut, and I did form genuine bonds with people, and I used those relationships to leverage myself farther in the game. And when I aligned with people, I always made sure that those people were going to be the bigger threat than I was. I aligned with multiple people who the target went on their back and not mine, even though I was working closely with them. I think I outwitted because I was able to form close relationships and be in the know-how. I was in the minority on every vote but 2 that I was part of. I outplayed because I was on the dominant Nakota Alliance and the Nakota team who dominated the pre-merge portion of the game. I won a single immunity challenge. And even though I did downplay a lot of my challenge ability to lessen the target off my back, I was still a damn competitor, and I was right there in a lot of the challenges, even the last one where I was 2 seconds away from beating Danny. And I outlasted because I'm here, and I was able, like I said, I was able to leverage my social relationships with people. And I really just also want to say that I'm really thankful I was able to play in this game with you guys. It's been an awesome, fun opportunity. I'm so happy that I've formed a lot of great relationships that are going to continue on for, like Denny said, years and years outside of this game. And I thank each and every one of you, because without you guys, I wouldn't be here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' questions. I'm open to answer any and all questions you have. Thanks, guys.
All right, jury, now is your opportunity to address the final three. Corey, let's kick it off.
You sure about that?
I am sure.
All right. First off, I do want to say congratulations to the three of you for making it to the final three. There were different aspects to each one of your games that I do actually really respect. Denny, your maneuvering within the game was masterful. It was masterful to watch. Rob, you played with your heart. That is one of the things that I can honestly say about you, is that what you see is what you get with Rob Petkoskis. And I respect that so much about you. Frank, we had you're one of the best parts of this game for me. One of. The long conversations, I don't know if I would have been able to get through this game because of the stress if it weren't for the long talks that we had at night with the Night's Watch Alliance that we had. So I do want to thank you guys. Now, to get into Lex in Survivor All-Stars was famously quoted at the jury speak by saying that this game exposes us for who we are as people to the core, like truth serum. And I don't agree with that entirely, but I do think that it exposes aspects of who we are, and whether we choose to do those things. Doesn't mean that that's us as people, but we can choose to do it or we don't. I came into this game deciding I was going to play with my heart, and if I made a promise to somebody, I was not going to break it. Denny, when I said a final two deal to you in the pregame, that meant I was never going to write your name down. Even during the hard times, I was never going to write your name down. I might be the fool for playing that way. Might have been exposing myself as a person to take advantage of. And I've come to accept that. But the feelings that are hurt from this game are real. This is not just a game. It is a social game, and it is stuff where people's feelings are genuinely hurt, because you start to question whether what was real and what wasn't. I was not as burned by my move, the blind side against me, as I was when Carrie got voted out. That sent me over the roof. I was infuriated. And to hear about how it went down and how that decision was made, and the lack of respect that wasn't given just to let her know what was coming, really, really, really just baffles me. Because another quote from a final tribal was Trish. Trish said to Tony, in a game for $1 million, is it worth it to do what you do? This game, there is no reward at the end of it. You don't win anything. So my question is it worth it to do the things that you might do to people, where you show maybe a lack of respect by telling them what's about to happen when they can't do anything to stop it? Or how deep you get with people? Because I don't endear myself to everybody. I knew coming into this game I was going to have to deceive, I was going to have to blindside, but the people that I was playing, the people I was deceiving, I never got as close to those people. I always kept myself in check and made sure I was only appealing to their strategical best interests, not their personal feelings. So in a game where there is no reward at the end, my question to each one of the three of you is it worth it?
With you, Corey, you said that you were never going to write my name down. And there were some red flags that came up. When I went over to Nakota and I gave you the answer to the immunity idol on that call with you and Frank, you told Frank to go get the idol. And you didn't even give him a chance to go get it because you went and grabbed it for yourself. And then Frank said, Denny's going to be in trouble when she goes back to Miami. You should give her that. And you were like, no, I think, I'm going to hold on to it.
In a private call, we had a different conversation about that, just between you and I, before you left.
Okay.
Because
this is what I know in the game, and it is why it led me to certain decisions. The other thing is that I had spoke to Logan right after we merged, and Logan told me that you were gunning for me, that you were throwing my name out as the first possible vote after the merge.
And what did I do?
And then you later came to me and told me that you had a confession.
It was the night of the merge that I came to you. I mean, I may not have come to you within the first 10 minutes, but I came to you, and that was something that I would have never done for anybody else in this game. I felt that was a test against me as a person about whether I was going to play this game the way I was trying to play it, or whether I was going to go a different route. And I came to you to tell you that I had a test against whether, because there were talks in the Nakota calls about whether, if you had the Nakota idol, because we were playing that off, that you might have come over and got it from our camp, just to the Nakota specialist, we were playing that off, and the topic came up, well, if Denny thinks that Mikey's the bigger target, will she not play it for herself? So I was tested, and I came to you and told you that was not going to happen, that that I was tested, and that I felt awful about it, and that was not who I was.
I appreciated that you felt awful and that you were honest with me about it.
And to answer your question, Corey, from my perspective, just that you asked, was it worth it? And really, thinking back on the game, the only time I really stabbed someone in the back was you. And I knew I had to do that because the way that when it went down after the Morgan vote, and I found out everything about how you had been lying to me, and you told me you were my number one multiple times, and it really did hurt me personally. But I knew that if I came and I went to you and I leveraged the relationship I had with you, and I even made you feel a little bit more bad than you probably should have, you were going to come back to me, and it was going to be a good opportunity to take you out, because at that point moving forward, I knew that I couldn't trust you.
Yeah.
The only thing that I really felt that I did that was, I don't think I needed to do, I just did it because I felt like I was the target for everyone besides Logan at the time, was, I did have a shitty work week, but my cat didn't die. My cat's alive, but that was a Russell move that I was trying to pull. I was trying to do anything I could. Getting to the end of this game, I think the only thing that I did that I would not do is if I swore on my wife, which I swore on my wife to Denny and Logan, that I would challenge him, that I would take Denny to the end, I would give him up my immunity, and I would challenge Logan. That was at the final four, I think. Denny is when I swore that. That's one thing I would never do. My wife's more important to me than anything. But if I've got to stab you guys in the back, win this game, I came in this game willing to do it. I believe that after the game, I should be able to repair any type of valuable relationship with anybody based on the confines of this game.
Fair enough, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey. Morgan.
Well, hello, Denny, Frank, and Rob. It's good to talk to you guys. I feel like some of the questions I came in with already have shifted in my mind based on what I've heard already after your opening speeches and Corey's questions. But first of all, I just want to say congratulations. This game is definitely super tough. And I do think that if it's not the real Survivor, this is just about as close to it as you can get. So really congratulations to each of the three of you. I harbor no ill feelings towards any of you. I think you all are great people, and I do want to make a good decision for my vote tonight. I am definitely undecided on my vote. nothing is off the table for me at this point, and that is the honest truth. So please just be honest with your answers. Like, I really am genuinely trying to hear what you guys have to say, because it is very clear to me that I did not really have a clear picture of what the game looked like while I was in the game. So I want to know what you guys have to say. So yeah. Frank, if you win, does it count as a win for the specialists or for TRHS?
Good question. I think it counts as a win for me. I think the specialists get the win. I think if I win, I definitely think in the TRH patron group that I'm gonna get recognized as a great player. But to me, it wasn't really about the patron group. I used your guys' perspective of that as a tool to get to the end. To me, this game is a resume for the real thing. When I play this, I'm trying to build a resume for help get me on the show.
Okay, no, it's all good. Thanks, Frank. Denny, I've been in the jury for a little while now, and I feel like person after person has joined, and they all say the same thing. Denny and I were so close. We were so close pre-game. Like, she was the person I was closest to, and I was going to the end with her. I mean, Ponderosa has basically been like competition to claim that they were the one who was closest to Denny, I feel like. I mean, even me, like, I truly feel like we developed a real human bond in the short time that we were able to play the game together. And I definitely, like, respect your gameplay, but I really do want to know, like, where was your true allegiance? Like, when it came down to it, everybody felt that you were truly aligned with them, but I want to know, like, for real, who you were aligned with and why that person.
So coming into the game, my number one alliance was Corey, and I told him that was never going to break. Actually, as close as I was with Mikey, I told Mikey flat out that Corey was my number one, and if it came down to it and I had to choose between the two, I was going to choose Corey. So I was even like that blunt with Mikey. But then when Corey started raising some flags and I felt like I really couldn't trust him anymore, I went back to my pre-game alliance with Logan. I just felt like Logan was a straight shooter with me, always kept me in the loop, told me straight out if I was in trouble, like, didn't keep things from me. And I knew that he really did want to work with me to the end. So as much as I did want to work with Corey, he started to scare me a little bit. And I did not take Corey out because he took Mikey out. It was not that at all. It was that I felt I needed to get him out before he got me. So Logan was my true alliance in the end.
Okay. Thanks, Denny.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Rob.
Hello.
I feel like you are one person who's sitting there who is actually on my side throughout the whole game. You were a good ally to me, and I believe that you are a better player than some of the jury members want to give you credit for. You did do a great job developing relationships with people and made an effort to get to know people that you didn't know before a month ago, and that's not nothing to me. You know, I want you to know that I think you are in the running for this. So I don't want you to count yourself out by any means. Like I said at the beginning, my vote is not decided at all. So my question for you is, what do you think makes a good survivor winner, and why do you fit that criteria?
I think a good Survivor winner exemplifies outwit, outplay, and outlast. And I know that that's a little bit of a cliche, but I think I represent that because, like I said in my opening statement, I did form relationships where I knew that people were always going to perceive me as a little less of a threat, even though I had a bad rap coming into it, which was, I don't know why, I don't think it was warranted. But yeah, I was able to get on the ends with the information, know what was going on via Corey, who was telling a lot of different people a lot of different things. And yeah, I think that, like I said, I was able to form social relationships, social bonds, and I was always able to minimize my threat level, even though I was strategizing a lot. I think I won the social game in the fact I didn't receive a vote against me the entire game. I don't even think people considered voting me out. And I think outplay, like I said, I put together a lot of good challenge performances. There was some where I shit the bed. It was terrible. I looked like a fool up there. But I won one, and I was part of the dominant Nakota team that won a bunch. And I think outlast, I didn't really have, if you look at even the way things are shaking out tonight, I've heard some things that kind of even surprised me so far tonight. And I didn't really have a dominant alliance to cling to. I didn't have, when we were going into a vote, okay, I'm voting with these people 100% because I know that that's the word, their word is a word I can trust. But I was still able to maneuver myself, leverage the social relationships that I had, and vote with those people for a single vote, and then move on to the next one. And that's how I think I'm sitting in the end, and that's what I think a good Survivor player is.
Okay. Well, thank you. Oh, sorry. Did you have something else?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Well, thank you to all three of you. Again, congratulations, and I appreciate your answers and honesty.
Thanks, Morgan.
Thanks, Morgan. Logan.
Hello. Can everybody hear me? Good. All right. First of all, congratulations. Frank, I know I want to be there, but you absolutely demolished me in that last challenge, so congratulations to you. All three of you guys, I think all of you guys played an amazing game. Frank, for me, I think you played it the only way that you could have to get to the end, which is incredible to me. Denny, as people have said earlier, masterful maneuvering from going to every tribal almost in the beginning pre-merge to them being blindsided first vote merge and still recovering and still maneuvering and still making those bonds with people to keep yourself in the game. Rob, your social gameplay and your relationships are also amazing, and I would 100% agree with you that the way that you played the game is a fantastic way to play the game. But from my eyes, strategy-wise, like you said, you were in the minority for every vote but two. And for me, it's really hard for me to throw a vote toward you when I was in the majority and Frank was in the majority for every vote but one. So explain to me how, other than the relationships, where was your strategy at? Because clearly it wasn't up to par to be in the majority for those votes.
Well, I was in the majority for every vote but two.
For every vote but two.
Morgan.
Which ones, Morgan?
The only votes I wasn't in the majority for. And I knew that as soon as Morgan got voted out, I had to shift my strategy. So what do? Whenever I see the Corey big threat, he's forming, he's lying to people, I know I need to take him out. What do? I go right to two people I know are gonna want to take him out because he's done shady things. So I'm gonna go to Carrie, I'm gonna go to Denny, and I'm gonna say, let's go take out Corey. That was my big move.
That was your move. Denny, I would like to ask you what your best strategic play was in the game, in your opinion, and explain it to me more in depth.
Mine?
Yeah, my best
Denny.
My best strategic move was definitely taking Corey out.
Okay.
When I felt like I did not trust him, and he hands down wins the game if he gets to the end, I knew that he needed to go. So the first person I reached out to was Carrie, and I said, Carrie, look, we need to take Corey out. And she was having a hard time with it because they were super close. And I said, look, everyone says that you're playing Corey's game, just like everyone said I was playing Mikey's game. Like, it's time for us to make a big move together. And she said she was on board. So then I had to wait, and I waited and waited and waited to go to Phil because I didn't want Phil like blowing up the plans like he did the vote before. So I waited a while to talk to Phil, and I asked him, Phil, who's the biggest threat in the game? And he said, Corey. And I was like, you're right, we need to take him out and take out the idol at the same time. Then I went to Jeremy and I asked Jeremy what he thought, and Jeremy pretty much said, yeah, I'm cool with that, anyone but me. And then the last person I needed to get was Rob. And
that's not the way it went down from my perspective. Go ahead.
Maybe not from your perspective, Rob, but did I not ask you when we were on the call with Corey and Carrie?
With Corey, what do you mean?
When we were on the call with Corey and Carrie, I tried to send you a message and say, hey, Rob, are you with me? And you said yes. We hadn't talked about that. You even told me
but
in the past week that you were going to try to take this move, that you were going to play as if this was your move.
It was.
And it wasn't.
Frank, I'll move to you. It's going to be a very similar question. I have my opinion on what I think your best move was, since we worked so closely, but I would like to hear it from your words, and I think everybody else would love to hear it from your words on Frank's biggest move in the game, why it was so good, and how did you accomplish it? Go ahead.
So it's close, but it's got to be between the Ian vote and the Morgan vote. With the Ian vote, part of it was luck, but I say that move probably was the best move that happened for me, because by strategizing with Pook and possibly going with him and Denny instead of Nakota, I was able to get them to put their votes on Ian. And then we got 2 immunity idols that were played that round. So not only did 2 idols go out of the game, but someone that had been saying my name had gone out of the game as well. And I wasn't the one to get the blood on my hands for it, which allowed me the next move to still operate with Nakota to get Pook out, who was bad for my game. And then the Morgan vote, though, I feel like right after that I think it was the challenge, we got on a tribe Zoom with Nakota. I got off immediately, and then Corey came to me within, I want to say 30 minutes saying they brought your name up. I wasted no time creating a group chat with Denny and Carrie and Logan and Corey to get Morgan out that next vote. That happened so fast. So it's a toss-up between the Morgan, putting the stuff in motion to get Morgan out, and how the Ian vote played out that were the best moves for my game.
Okay. I think that is all I have for you guys. Once again, congratulations. All 3 of you guys know I love you. May the best man win. Or women, Denny, I got you.
Thanks, Logan. Jeremy.
All right. Well, congratulations to all 3 of you. I think all 3 of you played a completely different game that got you here, and I think it's pretty cool. One thing that I'm going to say is I have a question for each of you, and I don't want any BS. You can talk to the other jury members, and I'm pretty good at sniffing out BS throughout this game. And so if I even get a sense that you are throwing me false information, then your chance of getting my vote goes down. And I'm pretty open at this point because I think, like I said earlier, all 3 of you played a completely different game. And each of you guys have points where you deserve to win this title. Frank, I'm going to start with you. So you even said in the beginning of this tribal that you wanted to really work with the people that were getting the most information, and you still didn't see me as someone that you could even really talk to in this game, which personally kind of hurts, because I know that we didn't reach out during pregame. But then I did reach out once I knew that we were on the same tribe after the tribe swap, and then nothing happened after that. But I knew that you were still working, you were still talking to Ian and Morgan. And so I wasn't sure what the whole problem was with you talking to me. I'm not sure. That doesn't matter anymore. We had our beef during some tribal councils, but whatever. My question for you is, everyone pretty much saw you linked up with Logan. And then after I got voted out, I figured out that you were really close with Corey. So was there ever a time where you made a move that didn't involve either one of them or both of them together?
In the beginning of the game, towards the beginning of the game, they eventually both found out both things, but I kept one thing from Corey and I kept one thing from Logan. They each only knew one thing that the other didn't know. Corey in the beginning didn't find out about the steal a vote right away. Logan found out right away about that. And then Corey found out about the lie I made telling Ian and Morgan that Denny found our idol. Corey knew that first because I knew how close Denny and I could tell just by talking to Logan how close him and Denny were. And he was also, when she was at the camp, there were things I wanted to tell the specialist that none of them wanted me to tell the specialist. But I knew that I had to tell them something. I knew I had to tell Ian and Morgan something, give them some information. So that was kind of contingency plan that Logan didn't know about. I did tell him later, after the merge, when the threat of that coming up happened, I was like, can I tell you something, Logan? I actually planned for this. So those were the things that they didn't know. But for the most part, I played a super transparent game with almost everyone. There wasn't a lot of stuff I didn't keep from people. There were simply people that I just didn't communicate with that much at all. You were probably the one that out of these people that I talked to the least, but I also didn't message Morgan one-on-one a lot until Ian was gone. I didn't talk to Rob a lot one-on-one besides the beginning of the game. Phil, just back and forth very lightly. So I doubled down on the people that I felt would get me farther in the game, because I knew if I talked to everyone, then people are gonna get suspicious of me and be like, is he planning something with Jeremy? If I wasn't communicating with you at all, and that's the same message you were bringing back to Morgan and Ian, they would feel safer with me. I felt that way. That's how I viewed it, and that's why I did what I did.
All right, Denny, you played me, and I have to commend you because you knew exactly what to say at the exact time. You knew right after the Morgan vote that I was by myself, and we had a lot of great talks throughout the merge, and I definitely feel that we did have a personal connection, which I hope still goes after this game. My question for you is, going back to the night that Phil and I are voted out, if there was no crazy twist in the game where we went straight into a challenge and straight into another tribal without me getting to really explain my case at all, do you see yourself voting out Frank in this game and keeping me safe?
As much as I would have loved to do that, no, to answer honestly. And that's because of the deal that I had with Frank and Logan. And I mean, them two saying that they were going to battle it out at the end was a no-brainer for me to get into the final three. So, yeah, I'm glad that you feel the friendship, because I do too. And I wasn't like playing you. You said that I played you. I wasn't playing you. I really did want you to find a way to work yourself in. And you told me your plan, and your plan was to vote Phil. But then you messaged me right before the vote and said, I gotta go with my gut, I'm voting Frank. If you had voted Phil, I mean, you still wouldn't have been saved the next vote when you went out, but you wouldn't have been outside of that vote, and there wouldn't need to be a revote. So I was trying to like extend a branch to you because I do like you so much. I wanted you to try to like weave in with the others as well.
Okay. Thanks, Danny. All right, and Rob.
So,
In my eyes, you played probably one of the most loyal games out of this group of people, which I can definitely respect. My question for you is, how did your game evolve after we voted out Corey, and how did you make sure that you were sitting where you are now?
well, it evolved because I went and I got back with the people that I had a pregame alliance with. I had pregame alliances with Danny and Carrie, and at that point, I knew once Corey was gone, then Phil was the bigger threat, and Frank did a good job of pushing off the threat level on himself, off himself onto Phil. So I knew that I had to jump back and forth. I think that's how it evolved. And I was able to strengthen the relationships I had at that point.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jeremy. Phil.
Yes. All right. Well, Denny, where did we really stand together in this game, honestly?
So, look, for me, you are just a dangerous player because you're very, very smart, and you flipped on me at one point. And when
After you did.
I get the McKenna vote, but like moving on from that, I thought we had something with Mikey, and it wasn't, again, I did not make my moves based off emotion in this game. So I never took anyone out because they took Mikey out. That's not how it went. But for moving forward with you, I wasn't sure if I could completely trust you, and you were finding advantages like they were going out of style, and I just didn't think that I could beat you at the end.
There's only two.
Well, in a game where there's not
like
many
going out of style is two. Going at, I mean, yeah, I mean, wouldn't it have been better to work with that instead of just saying, oh, he's got, instead of just flushing it out?
Yeah, what everyone didn't know though was how close that I actually was with Frank and Logan. I mean, those emotions that were displayed during that tribal where Frank and I were going at it, those were real. And then me going to the specialist and saying, hey, this is what Frank has. This is what Frank's planning on doing. Corey's in on it. Like, all this stuff is going on. All of that was real. And I was trying to flip the game at that point. It just so happened no one believed me that Corey was lying to them. But Phil, with you and I appreciated all of our Zoom calls, our chats, you cooking, hanging out with your wife, all of that, our early morning chats. But in the game, you were a huge threat. So, and I didn't think that you would actually take me all the way to the end. I know you said that, but I didn't think you were being honest.
All right, that's why I asked where I stood, because apparently you were close with, about half a dozen people in this game that you were really super, super close with, or thought they were really super, super close with you. I mean,
like I said,
there's no point to get so close with so many people that you're just gonna have to at some point just flip a coin and decide their fate.
I didn't get close with people for the game. I got close with people because that's what I do. I connect with people. That's what I do.
But then
and some people I connect with naturally.
Feelings on the
ones I didn't. The ones I connected with, I genuinely love each of you, right? But we're playing a game. I know Corey said it's not a game for $1 million. I don't care what I do in my life. Like, I'm going to give 100%. That's just me. I'm a Marine through and through. I'm never going to do something half-assed. Like, I'm going to give it my all. Of course, I want to get to the end and I want to win. The friendships I made are completely genuine.
All right. Well, moving on, because obviously my vote is still wide open. So, Frank, I hadn't forgotten about you. I know you're over there. I'll being awful quiet, but that's all right. I really wish that I would have been on your side at the start on Dakota, because, you and I seem to have quite a bit in common. It just sucks that even after the merge, things were too late, and we just weren't able to get together. But I think you played a really good game. Because especially the merge vote. Because I sniffed out the vote was going to be a 4-4 split. That's why I voted for Pook to save my own ass and not have to play my idol. But so was it your idea for somebody to switch a vote over to me to ensure that I don't get through with the idol?
Switch a vote over to you?
Right, because there was 4 votes for Pook and there was 4 votes that were supposed to be for me from the coda, correct?
Yeah.
But it ended up.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know the numbers and how the votes went. I didn't keep notes like I did in the mini. But the decision to go against Pook to try and vote Pook out that round to split the votes, that was made, I think, that day. We were back and forth all that long weekend. Pook started playing way harder than I wanted him to play. And because of that, that's why we decided to just go with the Nakota plan. I can't say that I made any decision by myself, but I can say what I wanted to happen because the people I was working with were like-minded enough that my suggestions and my feelings were heard, and I feel like I was subtle when I was going after somebody to not be the one that's like, that's my move, because I didn't need a bigger target than I already had. And if it wasn't for you finding all those advantages, I needed you in the game at that point in time to paint the target on, because as I was pumping the brakes, I was throwing your name out there hard. He's such a threat. He's such a threat.
Right. Well, you did a great job, Frank. You really did.
Thank you.
Rob, I would like to know what moves that you made to get yourself here to the finals.
I think something that I haven't even talked about, but was instrumental in my game, was originally forming the Nakota Alliance. We had a great bond with all each other, and that's all 9 of us, and that's me. I was there. I was in that Nakota Alliance, and that powered us through the pre-merge, got us to the merge. My big move, what I was trying to make my big move, was to take out Frank. That didn't work. I had to shift my game, take out Corey, and I'd like to take some credit for taking you out as well. Because, again, I thought you were a big threat, and I wanted you gone more than I wanted Frank gone at that point. Did I answer your question?
Go ahead, sorry.
No, did I answer it? I already answered.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you also played a good game. You had a really good social game because we had, we were talking football a lot, but I know, I mean, we didn't exactly
That's what I had to rely on, though. It was just after Morgan got taken out, my whole game had to shift. And that's what I had to rely on, my social game and the relationships I had. It was my only leg I had to stand on.
And you did a good job on it, too.
And it's still, me aligning with Denny and you to take out Corey. That was part of my strategy, too. I was aligning with you guys because I knew if I was in a 5 with you guys were always going to be perceived as the bigger threat. And I could just fly under the radar.
All right, that's a good call. All right, yeah, all right, I'm done. That's it.
Thanks, Phil.
You're welcome.
Carrie.
Hi, guys. Congratulations. You all played incredibly different games, and whether that was apparent to me or not during the game, it was absolutely apparent to me once I got to Ponderosa. I thought I knew coming into this where my vote was going, but now I'm not so sure. So just be honest with me. Frank, I would love it if you could tell me about your social game.
My social game?
Yes, please.
I think the fact that I was doing everything with a night shift schedule made it hard. But I believe I built a strong, I may have not built as many bonds as you did, but I do think the bonds I had were stronger. I think the bond I made with Corey, I think Corey was super tight with me. I think the bond I had with Logan, Logan's like a brother to me. Corey's like a brother to me. Denny and I, we were able to work together after I left her out of 2 votes. That is not because she wanted to keep me around because I'm entertaining. It's because she knows that when I look at Denny and I speak with her with conviction in my voice, she knows that I mean what I say. And I think the bond I built with her, Corey, Logan, I think that helped me. I wasn't able to build super close bonds with anybody else. I did start to get close with Ian because he was up later too, and I didn't want to get too close to these people though, when I knew that at the end of the day I was going to have to stab them in the back. And I also didn't want you guys are giving Denny shit for having deals with everybody. That's the last thing I wanted or needed. I knew that I already had a big enough target. If people knew I had the relationship with Logan, and I was fine with people knowing I was that close with somebody that I wouldn't write their name down, because I knew I had people like Corey that were super tight with me that no one knew about, that would get that information and then timing and using that information is why I'm sitting here right now, and it's why I think I deserve to win. But I think that I built the bonds that I could and that I should have built. I think doing any more would have been detrimental to my game, and doing any less, I wouldn't have had the bonds I needed, the people who trusted me that I needed to move forward.
I mean, I suppose it depends on what you value in a Survivor player. So you're saying that essentially your social game was Corey, Logan, and Denny.
That was where I invested my relationships.
Yeah, I mean, the social game is definitely a huge part of the strategy. And for me as a voter, it's hard to vote for someone who I think doesn't know anything about me. So if you're looking for a critique for your Survivor game, I guess that's one that I would offer, along with jury management. Okay, thank you so much. Rob, I love you like a brother. You're like a little brother to me now. So I would like you to walk me through who you were aligned with. So we're talking like finals deals from the pre-merge up until the end.
Okay, so the first deal I had was a Final Four deal with Corey. That was the first time anybody came to me and said, let's go to the Final Four together and let's compete in the final fire making challenge. Then after that, we had that planted, and we knew that we had to ride out Nakota. Let's hopped on the Nakota train. That's good. So at that point, then obviously, things are going to happen and cracks are going to form in there. And I knew that my best move was to go with the specialists. And that was not Frank. That was Jeremy, Morgan, and Ian. And I had a Final Five deal with them and Corey, and I left you out of that, even though I was really close to you. But I never came to you, Carrie, and said we have a specific Final Three deal. I never said that.
Yeah, I agree. We never said that.
So at that point, I had the Final Five deal, and once Corey blindsided Morgan, then the only other deal I had for the rest of the game was the Final Three deal with you and Denny, and that's it. As soon as Corey was out, Denny texted us and said, it's Final Three, us three, no matter what. And I truly felt that, and that was the way I was going to play the game the rest of the way.
Same. Yeah, I agree. And Rob, one thing I've always really valued about you is your loyalty. And I want to thank you because you were the only person of the Final Three who didn't stab me in the back. So thank you so much. Okay. Denny, I love you like a sister. You know I do. Okay. I have I have a couple things to say to you. Preface it by saying I love you. You're like a sister to me. I would love it if you could explain to me why you needed to vote me out when you did.
I didn't need to vote you out. And like I said earlier, I was thinking of using my idol to save you. it was really like so hard for me at that point because, again, Frank and Logan said they were going to battle it out, giving me a spot in Final Tribal. I wanted that other spot to be you, which is what I was trying to pitch to you without coming out and just saying, you have to put Rob's name down on the parchment, which I understand that you weren't willing to do. But when I said I wanted to go to the end with you, Carrie, I did mean that because I knew that only Frank or Logan was going to be in the final 3. The other 2 spots would be me and you. So when I said that to you, I was not lying. With your vote, I was on a call with Frank and Logan. I had spoken to Logan privately and said, I really think that we should keep Carrie. I don't understand why Frank is so scared of Carrie like stealing all the votes. I think she has to move forward. I really did try to push you forward with Logan, thinking Logan would go back to Frank and say, hey, let's just bring Carrie. You know, I threw out Rob's endearing. He could get the votes at the end. So let's keep Carrie in the game. But I didn't want to push too hard because, again, if Frank or Logan had won that final immunity, like things could have just been different. If I played my cards too much trying to keep you, then they would have seen, she's not really with us, she's with Carrie.
I mean, I suppose I somewhat understand that. However, you did have 2 other opportunities to keep me in the game. You could have voted with me. That was one opportunity. You also could have voted with them and then given me your hidden immunity.
Right, and
so logically, it doesn't really add up.
I get that, but I did tell you that Logan and I connected on a really deep level before the game, and I just could not put his name down. I could not write his name down, and I did write yours and think I could possibly use the idol on you, but when I came back into the Zoom call, Frank's reaction just made me uncomfortable, and I couldn't do it.
Frank's reaction was this, literally.
That's not what I saw.
I saw this and this. Okay, I'm all done. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carrie. Pook.
Okay. Unlike Frank, I'm really not good at this whole public speaking thing, so you guys got to bear with me a little bit. I was writing some notes down that kind of just popped up. Firstly, congratulations, obviously. Like, you guys are amazing players. I mean, Rob's a returning player from NSFW, so naturally, you know, people might think he has a target. Frank and me probably had the biggest targets coming in. Luckily for the swap at the beginning, I mean, it kind of gave us something to grab onto, which was amazing. He just happened to use it a lot better than me. And Denny, you played amazing. You obviously, I was with you from the beginning, and the first half of the game, we struggled quite a bit, but I mean, we made it through it, and that's all that matters because that's what our goal was, to get it over to the merch. Anyway, Frank, when you were just talking to Carrie, you had said something about you didn't see her as a person at that point.
Oh, sorry, I should be muted.
That kind of is odd to me because I know where your head's at when you play this game. I know that you actually look at it as a game. In this Ponderosa the last few days, I've been really struggling with a couple people explaining the way that I look at the game and hearing how they do. There's certain people that think that the emotions that are brought into this game trump everything else, and to me it's like everyone that's a Survivor fan, which we all are, should know that there's going to be absolutely 100% emotions that get involved. You guys had a tribal previously where everybody kind of got emotional talking about how this game has taken so much time out. When you're with your family, you're sitting there and you're not really present, and you know you're playing 23 hours a day, and it becomes real at that point, and that really got to me, and that's why it opened up a lot of thought processes, because I knew that I was going to have to just, I don't know, deal with this at the end. But anyway, Frank, when you said that she is not a person and she was a number for you, Is that how you saw everybody from the beginning? I understand that you had real connections and you obviously played them fabulously, and you had to maneuver whichever way. You used Corey as, in my opinion, one of the best pawns that could have been played in the game, because he had the specialist believing that you and Logan were not talking with him, that you weren't even close, which blew my mind. When I heard that it was a unanimous vote for Annabelle, I didn't want to believe it, and I was amazed that that gameplay actually was what's happening, because I was thinking, no offense, specialist, I was thinking, how stupid can they be thinking that, you know, they're not going to be at the bottom of this Nakota 8. And so obviously you were playing a game from the beginning. So do you look at people just as numbers from the start to the end, or is there ever anything that actually makes them a person to you?
So when I form these connections and these bonds with people, I'm using real life ability, and I'm actually trying to build these bonds every day. Even with Logan and Corey, you'll see in some earlier confessions when this thing gets aired out, I had to remind, I was nervous, like, about them. I had to remind myself that these people, everyone here is playing Survivor. Yes, emotions come in. I tried to use the emotions to better my game, but I had to remind myself that everyone here is playing a game. They're playing Survivor too, and if I get too comfortable and too secure with people just because I feel safe with them, that's going to make me vulnerable, and I don't think that I could lower my guard at any point throughout this whole game. So in the beginning, yes, when I approach somebody, I'm trying to build a real relationship, but I'm reminding myself that they are just a number, and it's just a number that I have to take out to get myself further, and how I maneuver these numbers through the game.
Rob, okay. Oddly enough, I am kind of hurt by you the most, and I talk to you the least, because before this game even started, me and you were talking about going on this cruise, and we actually, you know, I just got done saying I don't have these emotions, bringing them up, but I'm going to have a little bit now. We had like a friendship I thought was, you know, forming, and I was really looking forward to hanging out with you on the cruise, this and that. And I have heard from many people, Ponderosa, people still in the game, that you have said some very derogatory things about me. And I'm just wondering where that stems from.
Honestly, it was all gameplay, Poop. I think you're an awesome dude, and I am gonna love going on the cruise and hanging out with you, even though we're not gonna be roommates. We're gonna go and have a great time. It's gonna be awesome, and I think you're a really cool dude. But at that point in the game, my best play was to play up the Nakota Alliance as much as I possibly could. And guess who was not in the Nakota Alliance? Yourself. So to me, it was just gameplay. I wanted those people to think that I want exactly what happened. I wanted them to think that I hated you and wanted you out of the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate that. So the whole thing that Corey, Frank, and Logan had going on, I put them in a 3-person category, because to me, Frank played amazing. Like Logan said earlier, I don't think Frank could have played a different game to get himself to the end that he did. But Logan kind of touched on it with his question about, Frank, do you think that you had any moves, or it might have been someone else, your moves always involved going back to somebody else? Is there anything that happened in this game that you were solely responsible for? I get that you had your people, this and that, but could you do anything on your own the whole time? I'm not trying to be like ruthless to you, but I just want to know that
the things I did on my own were, I got 2 individual immunities. I beat somebody in the fire challenge. I got the steal a vote without any, I got that on my own. Those are the things that I did by myself.
I actually did. That's exactly the answer I wanted to hear from you, because socially, I don't think that you made any strategic moves yourself, but you just answered correctly, because that is what you did on your own, and I do appreciate that as well. You know, everybody's probably thinking I have a biased opinion coming into this because me and Denny had that alliance from day one. But I love this game too much to just vote for someone that I'm closest with instead of voting for who played the best game. And from my perspective, we had to play, me, Phil, and Denny had to play so much harder than you guys did because you guys were winning. We had to go through the emotional votes. We had to go through everything. Denny had her back up against the wall the entire time. And I know many people say she was playing my game. That's not true. I was absolutely playing her game the entire time. None of the decisions made were really coming from me. I mean, I tried to, but obviously I don't make the smartest moves. My question, Denny, is you had obviously a lot of relationships with people that are real. And I know that the game gets in the way of hurting people's feelings. I know that Corey was hurt. Carrie's obviously hurt. Phil was obviously hurt. And Jeremy was obviously hurt. And I just want you to pretty much tell everyone why you look at the game the way you do instead of looking at the people as the friends that they are. Why do you look at the game as, how do I say it? You look at the game as a game instead of bringing the emotional stuff into it. Is that stemming from your Marine background? Is that because you just really enjoy the game? Like, what is it?
Look, this is a unique situation because if you go on the Real Survivor, you're not in relationships with these people and friendships with these people before you get there, unless you're a returning player. You know, so I had relationships built up with some of you before the game started. And obviously, yeah, emotions are going to come into it. I was hurt during this game too. I called Logan and cried my eyes out to him. So I get where there's some emotional feelings and your feelings are being hurt. But to me, in the end, like, this is a game. I would hope that our friendships can continue on. I would never not be friends with any of you because of something that you did to me in the game. It really is just a game. Like I said earlier, I don't go into anything and not give 100%. That's just not my character. I had a goal coming in to win this thing. And yeah, I was gonna do whatever it took to get to the end. And I still wanna win. I know that I've hurt some of your feelings. I'm sorry for that. Just know that everything I've shared with you has been genuine from my heart. But I am just like a go-getter. Yes, it is the Marine in me. That's why I joined the Marines to begin with. There's just like this fire in me. And I know there's not $1 million prize at the end of this, but it still means a lot to me to get to this point. You know, I played the mini, I got close to the end. Frank took that from me. But like, I don't care if it sounds silly because there's not $1 million prize. Like, to me, it's bigger than that. My biggest dream in life is to get on the actual show. So seeing that I've come this far in this game, like, proves to me that I could really do well on the real thing. And that's why I gave it my all. I wanted to see what moves I could make, how strategic I could be, how my personal relationships would factor in the game. And, you know, being on my Amiya, Mikey, you pulled me into the specialist side, but they felt so comfortable with me that Mikey was actually being left out of calls and I was like his replacement. Like, everyone felt so comfortable with me all the way through, and that's because just naturally I share my life story with people and it opens it up for them to share with me. I did build real relationships with you guys. I wasn't playing anyone to try to further myself in the game. Every conversation I had with you guys was real. It just happened that because we had those conversations, a lot of you guys did trust me in the game. To me, the game is the game. My personal relationships with you are my personal relationships with you. The blind sides that happened on my part, I don't hold any of those things against you. I was hurt in the moment, but the friendships and bonds that I've built with you, I would hope move forward after this.
I congratulate all you guys and thank you for playing. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys have a good time. And good luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ian, close us out.
All right, thanks for saving me till last. It's been a while since you guys heard these beautiful vocal cords rub together, huh? All right. First, I just want to start off by echoing the congratulations that everyone's given to the three of you. I think this game is truly just as tough as regular Survivor, having to manage real life, having to manage work, your family. It's just insane how close this game is compared to the real thing, in my opinion. Everything that I'm about to say to you all is strictly based on your gameplay. It has nothing to do with who I think you are as a person. And I think you're all fantastic people that are doing great things in your real life. And I hope that someday we're all able to meet in person, and post-COVID we can hug it out. Frank, I wanted to start with you. I really don't know like what actual moves you made in the game other than like using the pre-existing relationships that you had before it started. Like the three people that you were closest with before the game started were Logan, Denny, and Corey. And I don't know if you actually made a strategic partnership, which is part of your social game, other than those people. I mean, we had something that we had basically a fake thing. You thought you had Morgan, Jeremy, and I under your wing, but we really never believed a word you said. The Denny idea that you said about the idol, we did believe. I believed for probably 48 hours or so, and then by the time Denny had gone, I was like, well, I can't ask her anymore. It's not going to make any sense. I can't talk to her. I was playing you, you were playing me. The Annabelle vote was Morgan, Jeremy, and I's decision to get TRHS to trust us. However, on Ponderosa, I've heard that you claim that is your move.
No, I don't know who said I claimed that move. That move shocked me. When you guys threw her name out in a Zoom, I was like, the heavens parted. Like you were offering a sacrifice up to me. That's what it felt like. I did not think that's how it was going to work. I was planning on blindsiding you or Morgan that night, but you guys offered to Annabelle up, so I was like, well, shit, let's roll with this.
And yeah, so we found out that obviously it would have been Morgan or I going home. But that wasn't because we trusted you. That wasn't because we trusted Corey, whoever else, Rob at that point even. That was strictly because we wanted you guys to trust us.
It was, I wanted you guys to feel like I trusted you more than I needed you to feel like you trusted me. Then I needed to feel like you trusted me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll just skip over the next part that I had then. But yeah, I mean, I can't commend you enough. I mean, you were the first person we wanted out in Dakota. I mean, we had f***ing Andrew on our tribe. We would have finished. We would have lost the first challenge, and you would have been the first person out of the game. But here you are on day 39. But the pre-existing relationship thing, to me, it just bothers me. Like,
So with Logan, I didn't talk to Logan a lot out of this game. Logan was my closest bond in this game, but I didn't talk to Logan outside this game besides asking him if he'd seen this Star Wars episode. Or before the game started, I said, may the force be with you. But I did not build an alliance with Logan before the game, and he ended up being my strongest alliance in this game.
Okay.
And my social skills in this game weren't necessarily the building relationships, but it was being able to read a room, seeing who people were willing to go for, and then swaying the target that direction. picking up on social cues, I think, is just as important as being able to build a really strong relationship, which I believe I could do with any of you if I dedicated the time to doing that.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to Denny. Denny, it's crazy how this is like the first time we're speaking together on day 39. Again, I want to echo everybody else. Your strategic game deserves a lot of respect. You and Pook got me fair and square, but then again, like, it really wasn't you guys' move. Like, that was Frank's move. And right after I got voted out, I knew that that was the case. And so you were told to do that by Frank, and people haven't been happy with you after they got voted out. You've heard plenty about it tonight. Part of the game is managing the jury, and I don't know if you did that well enough to warrant a majority vote tonight. And I was going to say something about carry and flipping of a coin, but I think just beating a dead horse at this point. But the main thing I wanted to talk to you about was we played together for, I think, 7 or 8 days. I was trying to count. And if it weren't for me reaching out to get to know you, I wouldn't even know if I would know what you did for a living. I didn't need to talk strategy with you. Like you said, I knew we were never going to vote together. I knew you were good at this game. I wanted the people who were good at this game out of the game. In Survivor, you can get caught talking to someone like out on the beach that's outside of your alliance and other people can see it. But in this game, we had the beauty of Facebook Messenger and texting. You can't really get caught unless you make a mistake. And I just think not making the effort to ever reach out to me is kind of inexcusable.
I do feel like I did reach out to you. Here's the thing, Ian, when I messaged you and let you know that John and McKenna said to tell you I was good with them, you didn't respond after that. So it just made me wonder, like, oh, maybe Ian really isn't good with John and McKenna. I don't know. Then I went back to my Amia, so I didn't get to talk to you until merge, but I had heard from a few people that you were saying I was a threat in the game and you wanted to get me out. So yeah, I get coming to you and just making a connection, but when I know clearly that you're throwing my name out there, it just made me weary of coming to you at all. It wasn't, I mean, on our Zoom calls and everything, chatting about burgers and whatnot, I was like, I want to go eat a burger with this dude.
Please come anytime. I'll go eat a burger with any of you.
But it was, yeah, it was just that I knew you were throwing my name out there. So it scared me.
And thank you for your answers. Rob, I wanted to save you for last because I feel like you and I really developed a friendship in the game. Strategically, I thought you were on the bottom of a lot, which you've said and been honest about, but you weren't on the bottom in our group of 5 alliance. I mean, I had planned on taking you deeper into the game than Corey because I knew Corey was pre-existed relationships already with Denny, with Pook, with Frank, with Logan. And people in this game, not just the people that you're sitting next to tonight, but people had pre-existing relationships that carried their game and alliances. And I think your pre-existing relationships got voted out first and third. Your NSFW, I know you were really close with Joe. You've told me times that he was your number 1.
Yeah, but
never even got to play with it. This isn't bad. I just would
No, I was just saying that, like, I thought it was actually a blessing that Joe got voted out and Karen, because everybody knew that, and that would have been a thorn in my side if we would have, the 3 of us would have been in the merge together.
Yeah, it's kind of like the blood versus water thing, where if your number 1 gets voted out first, you kind of can move on. And you couldn't use those pre-existing relationships, but you had to build new ones. And I really do commend you for actually building like real relationships with people. Not saying Frank and Denny didn't, but from my perspective, we talked almost every day. And I mean, it was about the game probably 3 out of 7 of the days of the week, but the other days we just bullshitted about, whatever. It didn't matter.
And that was my way too. I did, like, again, I built social relationships with everybody, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to someone and just talk their ear off. Let's go talk about the game. Like, people don't take well to that, and they perceive you as a threat. I knew that, so I knew I wasn't going to do that with people.
Yeah. That being said, my question for all of you has been the same. I told Morgan my question, if I got to the jury, what it would be on day one. It's still the same. So what do you think is the biggest difference between this game and Real Survivor, and how did you use that to your advantage? I'll go in the same order I talked to people about, so I'll go Frank first.
I think you brought it up. It's the being able to communicate with people without anybody knowing. People didn't realize how close I was with Corey, and no one had a clue that I was putting the plan in motion to get Morgan out with Denny and Carrie, because I stepped out of that Zoom and pretty much created that group chat, and no one knew that there was a group of people walking off the beach. So I think having that ability to communicate with people without seeing a group walk off is a big advantage to this.
Yeah, I think you and Corey exemplified that to a T. I think the two of you, I mean, I believe the reason you got information from me was from Corey. I mean, I trusted Corey just as much as I trusted anybody in this game.
Where I might have lacked in building strong relationships with people like Jeremy or Rob or Phil, the relationships I built were with people that I felt had really strong social game. So I didn't need to do it.
Okay. Denny?
Along the same lines. So for pregame was definitely a thing. Just last night, Frank said that I was the queen of pregaming this season. And I wouldn't disagree. But with the switch up right in the beginning, I had to form new relationships as well. I couldn't just rely on TRHS and my pregame alliances that I had built. So I found myself in unique situations where I was in a lot of different group chats, and people didn't know about the different groups I was in. I mean, there was one that was called Denny's Specialists, which was me and all the specialists on Miamia, and then there was just me and McKenna, John and McKenna. Like, I seemed to be in all of the different groups. Mikey was left out of them, certain people were left out of them, and I was in them. So just having that, like you said, where you can't just, if you walk off with someone, everyone's going to see you. I had these groups with people and no one knew about them.
Rob?
I think in the Real Survivor, when you're out on the island, and again, it's along the same lines, but it's just the obvious answer. It's like when you're playing with someone and you're having a face-to-face conversation with them, you're not going to be able to, or you're going to, in Real Survivor, you're going to be able to pick up on the cues that they're giving you. Are they looking you in the eye? Are they a little bit shaky? Are they sweaty? Who are they sleeping next to at night? Things like that. And then the other obvious answer is you're not starving on an island playing for $1 million. That's the difference as I see.
Okay. All right, guys, thanks for your answers. Like I said at the beginning, and like Denny brought up, call me anytime you're in Pittsburgh. We can go have a cheeseburger. I think you're all wonderful and genuine people, and there's something that I've learned in my studies to become a teacher that has always stuck with me. So there's one phrase that makes more of an impact on people than any other, so I wanted to close it out with it for the three of you. I'm proud of you, all three of you, and good luck, motherfuckers.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you, Ian.
All right, thank you, jury, for your questions and statements. I'm going to allow Frank, Denny, and Rob to do quick closing statements. All right, Rob.
Again, I came into this game with experience in the last game, but I knew that the way I f***ed up in the last game, I had to go back and fix those things. And the big way I f***ed up was I didn't form social relationships, and that was at the front and the crux and the forefront of my game this time. I was able to build bonds. I think everybody in this room can say that they got to genuinely know me, and I don't have any regrets. I had to play the game from a weird position sometimes, but I still got to the end by using my relationships, using my social game, and yeah, I think I deserve the vote.
Just get out of the way right now. Just get out of the way.
What's up? Did you say me?
Yes. Ryan, mute yourself.
Ryan.
Yeah.
All right, so I came into this game probably with the biggest target. I feel like I operated and moved myself through this game with a target better than almost anybody I've seen with a target. In Real Survivor, ORG Survivor, I feel like I move with a target very efficiently through this game. I've never been voted out. This is my second ORG. I've never been voted out. I had more votes cast against me this season than anybody. I know for a fact I have the best win percentage with tribes in the 2 games I've played. I think we only lost 2. I've lost 2 tribal challenges in 2 seasons, which sets me up huge in the later part of this game. I got 2 immunities. I won in the fire challenge. I said I would do that. I created alliances that would put me in a position to do that challenge and won it. I got the steal a vote. Again, I think positioning myself with people that want 2 people, Corey and Logan, that wanted to battle me in that final 4 allowed me to open the door for any 2 people to come with me to the end. I think that helped set me up. I played my heart out. I don't regret anything. If I did offend you guys by not communicating to you enough, or by lying to you, or basing it off of the flip of a coin, everything I did was strategy. It was something that I thought through, that I thought would be the best situation for myself to get farther. I think Denny played a great game. If I lose to her, I completely understand, because I think she did battle hard from the beginning. But I do think that while she was going to tribal, I was playing hard still when we weren't going to tribal councils. The specialists might not have believed me when I would tell them things, but I was super transparent with them. The thing I was telling them that I could think we could work with Corey, that I know that Logan's with me. I was telling them things, and everyone on the jury had opportunities to take me out of this game multiple times. I wasn't safe, and the shot could have been taken, but no one took that shot. Even when people are saying, Frank's a threat, Frank's a threat. Thank you guys for your time, and regardless of the decision, I do hope that we can all be friends and build relationships outside this game. Even though I work nights, just reach out.
Denny.
From the beginning, I've had to play hard. I was not able to hide behind anybody. I know there was a tribal where Frank and I went at it, and he said that I was Mikey's queen and playing Mikey's game, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I would say that maybe Mikey's my queen. I wasn't afraid to make big moves in this game, and you know, like I touched on earlier, it does mean a lot to me. I am sorry for the people that I hurt. I never did place a vote based on emotion, and I would just ask that you not use emotion when you're casting your vote. I would feel more comfortable if it was all TRHS people on the jury, because obviously we're fans of Russell, and I think a lot of people over in that group believe that Russell was robbed, right? Because he hurt people's feelings and just the way that he played the game. But Russell also didn't connect with people the way that I did. And my connections with each of you are true and genuine. The conversations that we've had, I'll always hold dear. It was never emotion. It was strict gameplay. If you're on the jury and I had any part in you being there, it's because you were a threat to my game. Corey, you were the biggest threat in this game. And there's no way anyone beats you at the end. So it's like, hats off to you. I know that it sucks that I voted you out, but I was basically gonna just hand you the win. and I really didn't know if you were gonna bring me with you. I saw the way that you and Carrie were. You guys were on calls together, and then you'd invite me in. Same thing with Carrie and Rob at the end. Like, you guys would be on calls and then invite me in afterwards. So I was just going with my gut, like I did the whole way through, and maneuvered with my gut always. And I just knew that to get to the end, I really had to side with Frank and Logan. So yeah, vote how you're gonna vote, but emotions aside, like, I played a hard-ass game. I know it's kind of flashy. Ryan, why are you shaking your head right now?
Ryan's drunk. Ryan's drunk as shit right now.
Yeah, he is.
But last Miami member, last female in the game, like, I appreciate your vote. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, final three. Jury, hopefully you have all the information you need to make this decision for the vote. How it works is, remember, tonight you are voting for a winner. And with that, it is time to vote.
I think I really have to go with Denny though to win this, because she, I feel, played the longest, the hardest game. She had to play from the beginning instead of having people blocking her the whole time. She had to adapt, and I think that all around her gameplay is probably the best. So yeah, that's where my vote's going.
My vote is for Frank. You are the master, my friend. Played a near perfect game. And I'd kick myself if I didn't vote for you, so well played, my friend.
My vote is for Rob. I think that every vote you get tonight is well deserved, and I think you played a great game, buddy.
All right, I'll go get the votes.
Oh shit.
Anyway, listen, I got my votes right here, okay? I want to thank the jury, thank the final three for an incredible season, okay? I will see you guys in a couple weeks for the reading of the votes. Everybody have a good night.